People are saying you organized an all-night drinking party. That's why you boys dragged ass out there.
Save it, Dad.
Save it? Save what? You got the opportunity of a lifetime. You
Playing
treat it like a
football at
joke.
West Canaan is not the opportunity of a lifetime.
Your attitude's wrong. Your tone of voice is wrong. This is your opportunity
For
here.
you, playing football at West Canaan may have been the opportunity of your lifetime, but I don't want your life.
So is that like one of the top 5 things you don't want your son to say to you?
If my kid said that to me, I would instantly waterworks.
I don't want your life, Dad.
This is like when Corey Matthews told his dad, Alan Matthews, one of the greatest television fathers of all time, Dad, you're average. I don't want your life, Dad. You're average.
Yeah.
You work at a grocery store. You own an outdoor store. You're average, Dad. That is like cut deep, like cut to the heart of your father.
Especially,
Come on now.
especially a Texas father, and we're talking about football. It's like, that's life.
And he was on the team. Like that is his life, and he just wants him to play. Come on now.
But I agree with Box.
Well, welcome back to the Last Row Podcast. This is episode 47. If you're looking for us on the web, thelastrowpodcast.com, on Twitter, at the Last Row Pod, Facebook, Google+, Google Play, most importantly, iTunes. Search for the Last Row Podcast. Leave us a 5-star review. Much appreciated. What's going on, Badway?
This podcast is the opportunity of your life, Drew.
Just get with it. I don't want your life, Badway. I don't want your life.
So we're doing Varsity Blues, if you hadn't already guessed. I don't know if the cult favorite, maybe my favorite football movie. We'll get into some comparisons of other football movies towards the end of the episode. But I've seen this movie like 100 times. I think you watched it for the first time yesterday.
I've seen many clips of it. Put it that way. This is the first time I actually sat down and watched it end to end, or beginning to end.
Yeah. So 1999 MTV Films, directed by Brian Robbins. How do you like Brian Robbins' work? I have no idea if he's done anything else.
I'll tell you what, it felt like you said this to me before we recorded. It felt like an MTV music video, like the football scenes.
Yeah.
They were very music video-esque.
Not that they're a bad thing. I like the football
No, it's just
scenes.
the way it was.
So genre is a coming-of-age / sport. But you could also describe this as a comedy, a drama, and a romance.
Look what I would say. I would say that this is more of a dramedy.
A dramedy?
Drama first.
Yeah.
Comedy a little bit. Coming of age number 1.
So if you're walking down the aisle of Blockbuster, what section are you finding this movie in?
You used to work at Blockbuster, so let me ask you this. When you worked there and you had a movie like this, was it in multiple aisles so that if somebody was looking for it, they found it wherever they were looking?
No, it's up to the system. It's up to the computer.
But who makes the decision? Let me
I don't
ask
know.
you.
There's some computer algorithm. I don't know. It always just came in as like there would be a little label on the box.
So it's not like the CEO of Blockbuster is saying, Jonathan Moxon's Halftime Rebellion belongs in this.
I want that job where I have to decide what category the movie's in. But
Back then, like, did they do? So there was a sticker that you put on, and it said where you had to put it. Like, did anyone take liberties with it?
No, when you scan the movie in, like when you actually checked it in when we got our deliveries, like it would already be like preset with a category.
Did people say, "No, I don't believe this doesn't belong here"? Like, you could go put it in the comedy section.
No, I wouldn't be able to override it. No, not allowed.
Did anyone ever try to do that?
I don't think so. You can't get into that file on the computer without the password.
Was there a section for coming of age tales?
No, but this movie would have been in that section, but I believe it was in the drama section.
I feel like, okay, I can go with drama. I can go with drama more than romance. There are aspects of romance.
I'm going drama 1, coming of age 2, sports movie 3, comedy 4,
romance 5.
romance 5.
I'm aligned.
Not
with
even romance. There was a love scene on a washer, a dryer.
I mean, they finally got a love scene here.
And there was a whipped cream bikini.
Come on now.
That's as romantic as we get.
It was high school romance.
Yeah.
That's high school romance as you can get.
And then Coach Kilmer and Billy Bob pre-Lance Harbor injury was another romance. All right, let's get into it. Synopsis: in West Canaan, Texas, high school football reigns supreme. When starting quarterback Lance Harbor, played by the now deceased Paul Walker, rest in peace,
R.I.P.
Paul Walker, turns up injured, the Coyotes or Coyotes?
This is like a rough roof, creek,
Coyotes.
coyotes.
It's Coyotes.
I'll go with coyotes, but
the
I'm not from
Coyotes,
Texas.
ruthless coach Bud Kilmer, played by John Voight. This is our back-to-back John Voight movie.
Yeah,
Let's do it.
John Voight, baby.
Yeah. Must promote bench warmer, Jonathan Moxon, played by the ever-talented James Vanderbeek,
Dawson himself.
to lead the team in its quest for a division title. Suddenly thrown into the spotlight, Mox must deal with the pressure of carrying the aspirations of an entire town on his shoulders as he struggles to pursue his own very different dreams.
I have a few questions about this synopsis.
I like it. What's up?
It's probably one of the best written synopsises that Google has produced for us since we've been doing the show.
Yeah.
First question is West Canaan a real town? I didn't look this up.
Yes.
It is a real town?
I don't know for sure, but I think it is.
See, I'm not a geography expert. I haven't looked it up. It's easy. I could just type it into Google right now, but I'm too lazy.
No, let's not do that. But if it isn't, that's a hell of a job by MTV
West Canaan
Productions to make up a town that sounds like a Texas
See,
town.
this is how bad we are. We didn't do our research. But so my second question is Lance Harbor the greatest fictional starting quarterback name ever?
Pretty pro-ready.
Lance
right?
Harbor.
Lance Harbor. It's pretty pro-ready.
That guy sounds like he could be, number one fantasy quarterback drafted overall.
It's like
He's
some
Aaron
guys have
Rodgers.
the name for the job. Lance Harbor is a hell of a name.
And Bud Kilmer, too. Great coach name.
Yeah.
Great coach name.
Yeah.
But overall, I think this synopsis encapsulates the movie plot pretty well. We'll talk about the story as we jump through some of the characters, but I think the best way to tackle this show today, now if you disagree, let me know, but let's talk about some of these guys. And let's start with the one villainous Coach Bud Kilmer.
Snake-like John Voight.
Snake, just villain, pure evil.
Is John Voight part reptile?
He has kind of a...
Because even Angelina Jolie is kind of snake-like.
Like if he had the split tongue, you wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
He looks snake-like. He might be cold-blooded. Maybe he has a split tongue.
Like
he
they even have those the slanted pupils.
The lizard eyes.
Like they would have like him and Angelina Jolie.
He does have the lizard eyes.
Yeah.
He's got them.
Yeah.
He acts like a reptile in this movie. For sure. He's a snake.
Yep.
Total cold-blooded snake. Has no, sympathy for any of his players.
Just wants to
He's
win, damn
just
it.
a winner, damn it.
It's like if Al Davis were a head coach.
He's just a winner.
It'd be Bud Kilmer.
This dude he's such a winner bad way. He's got a bronze statue of himself outside of that stadium.
It's not easy to get a bronze statue of yourself.
Who erected that? Did he pay for it? Or did the town say,
the
Bud
town
Kilmer's
had to
so
pull
great?
their money together because they just had to represent, right?
The coach's stadium is named after him. Bud Kilmer Stadium.
So these are his stats, right? 30 years coaching, 22 district championships, 2 state titles. And winning a state title in Texas is no easy feat.
Now, let me ask you this. Am I wrong if I expect more out of a coach that's been coaching there for 30 years?
I think so. I think you've been living in West Canaan too long.
Listen,
You expect more.
if you're so good and you're coaching there for 30 years and you only win 2 state titles and you act like this, come on, buddy. Get with the program.
The state titles are hard to come by. But however, I will say, his last state championship was in 1989.
That's what I mean.
It's a long time ago. It's been over 10 years.
He won in 87 and 89.
So
Why hasn't the town forced this guy out? Why hasn't he been fired yet? Or at least the pressure, the fire been lit under his ass?
yeah, I feel maybe that's why he's such a dick in this movie. It's because it's been 10 years, maybe, right?
Like he's just, he's got it loaded up. Like
He's a little bit on the hot seat.
like the seed it's burning a little bit under his ass. He also chews gum like a total asshole. I mean, that's a staple of villain quality.
Yeah, that's a dick coach move.
Dick coach move. Get the gum. Start chewing it like a dick. Just anytime you're talking to somebody, chew it in their face. I don't even think he had gum in his mouth.
It's like
He was just chewing.
he knows that chewing things would rub people the wrong way, get people uncomfortable.
What research did Bud Kilmer do for this movie? What research did John Voight do to learn how to be a dick?
Well, Pete Carroll was coaching at the time. Still.
I mean, Pete Carroll, he got the gum chew from
He's
him.
one of the older coaches, so he's been chewing gum for a while.
This was made in 99, so maybe it's before Belichick became kind of like Darth Vader. But he's still pretty evil himself.
Yeah.
Let me ask you about him. So he said he's under the hot seat.
Yeah.
How do you approve of his coaching style? Is he right? Is he wrong? I mean, he's pretty damn evil, dude.
He's pretty evil, but as far as football goes, he's smash mouth. And I can't fault him for that. I don't see it as a big high-flying running gun offense. He has the hot shot quarterback that can make all the throws, but you got to run that offense through Wendell, and I think he's doing it the right way.
But he looks like he's just chucking the ball with. I want to call Lance Harbor Clay Harbor. I don't know why. It's like a real NFL player.
Yeah.
I keep typing that in the notes and everything. Yeah. Clay Harbor. Paul Walker, a.k.a. Lance Harbor. He's chucking the ball with him, but Wendell doesn't score any touchdowns. We'll get to that in a minute. But
yeah.
What kind of offense is this guy running? Is he an X's and O's coach? Is he just smash mouth? You said he's smash mouth. What is this guy's game plan? What does he do?
He's smash mouth, but he might be the type of coach to gut it to get the lead and smash mouth to end the game.
So he's not going to be running the score up?
I think he's about the win. I don't think he's about the running the score up.
You don't think so?
He's not about style points.
He's not running the score up like 66-0?
No, it's not like college. You get points for running the score up in college. And in high school, it's all about the wins.
Where's he getting all these steroids and painkillers? That's my other question. Does he have like a guy that he knows, like that assistant coach?
West Canaan's very close to the Mexican border.
He's so himself.
Pretty easy. Yeah.
Do they ever say where he goes on the weekend? He never said.
Yeah.
Is he married? We don't know.
I don't think he's married. Like they don't say one way or the other in the movie, but there's no way this guy's married. He's got football on the mind 24/7.
This guy looks like he'd be hanging out at the landing strip.
Yeah.
Like he looks like the type that would just go to the strip club to supplant the marriage. Like he doesn't have a marriage.
If he needs a womanly touch, if he needs some female companionship,
he's calling up.
He's calling up for the quick service.
He's got an escort service.
Yeah. He's a regular at the massage shop over there. The landing strip is another big one of his.
So let's talk about some of the evil deeds that this guy has done, right?
A lot of whorehouses in Mexico too when he's picking those drugs up.
He's going to take a quick stop. Yeah. Let's talk about some of the evil things that this guy has done, right? You're saying that he might just be on the hot seat. He's not really that evil, potentially.
Yeah.
He's pulling a Sean Bean from National Treasure. He's just got to do what he's got to do. Let's go through it. He's shooting people up with painkillers. He's shooting them up with cortisone, although he never put the needle in.
No.
He himself
So that's
didn't.
that's the Sean Bean argument that you made National Treasure. Just because he attempted hurt these kids. Is that what you're saying?
I mean, he just wants them to feel better.
Yeah.
He's not saying, he's saying, oh, son, your knee hurts. Here, have a shot. I'll make you feel better.
So the first game, right, we understand that Lance Harbor, played by Paul Walker, is like the hotshot quarterback. He's got a full ride to Florida State, right?
Yeah. So
he's really good. But we see him in the locker room getting shots at his knee. That's not a good sign. He's got a bump knee, but he's playing through it. He's gutting through it. That's a player. That's a coach's player right there, right?
I mean, he's doing what he's asked of, right?
Yeah.
He's doing what he's asked of. He says, Coach, I got you.
So we know that that's kind of bad. But in the 90s, that's not so unheard of. Shooting players up with painkillers, cortisone, to get them through the game. Maybe high school, it's a little extreme. They definitely do it in college.
It's a little extreme.
And they 100% do it in the pros. Other than that, all he is he's a hard ass. All he is yelling at the kids. I don't think he really is that bad of a coach, really.
So do you think he knew about the long-term effects of CTE or concussions?
No, nobody did. The NFL, 3 years ago, the NFL claimed they didn't know.
He made the guy play, man. He's like, you're fine, son.
Yeah.
You got my star quarterback injured. It's your fault.
Well, that guy, he could have checked himself
You're dogging it around.
Billy Bob could have checked himself
He couldn't,
out.
though, because he loved the coach.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. You've got some guys on this team that absolutely love Coach Kilmer. It's like a contentious relationship. They love and hate him at the same time.
Well, I think it's mind manipulation and intimidation.
But isn't that like you said, right? It comes kind of what coaches do.
Yeah. And that's why he's a great coach. That's why he won 22 district championships.
Should have won more states.
Maybe.
Should have won more states.
That's a little bit much to ask.
Let's compare him to some other coaches that we've talked about previously. In the same light, we're talking non-professional sports, non-college sports. We're going a little bit lower. Let's go to Pee Wee hockey. I mean, Coach Riley of the Hawks.
Yeah.
Even Coach Stanson, the Wolf Stanson.
Yeah.
Let's compare their methods.
Oh, the Wolf.
Do you think, I don't know, and I don't know the case here. Do you think that Coach Riley had painkillers? Do you think he shot some people up on the knees?
See, we were never in the locker room of the Hawks, so I like to think that there was some shady shit going on there, and they're like 9 and 10-year-olds. They're not even in high school.
But I mean, what's the equivalent of painkillers for a 9 and 10-year-old? Like, is he letting them drink Monster energy drinks?
Yeah,
like
it's energy drinks. It's Red Bulls.
He's giving them Red Bulls.
Yeah.
Like, here, take this, son.
Yeah.
Trust me, this is good.
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand.
Snorting sugar.
That's what I mean. Like, who's worse? Is coach take their methods, take the way that they coached, take the psychological trauma that they put on their teammates or players.
Yeah,
who's worse, Coach Riley or Kilmer?
See, Coach Riley is coaching more of developing minds, so it's a little dangerous. He's like breeding tiny assholes.
He's like
Coach Kilmer, like the players already have developed social abilities. They understand that he's a dick, but I feel like they enter into that kind of contract where it's like you want to win and you want to get to a good school.
Put this in your knee.
It's kind of like, get through these 4 years of high school. Might be easier in college if we get through this rough part of our life.
But don't you think he's damaging their bodies long term? But you're saying they're entering it into mutual agreement.
Some. I mean, we're only talking about Billy Bob with a concussion. We're talking about Lance Harbor with a knee and Wendell, unfortunately, with a knee.
I mean, I guess if you lose your ligaments in your knee, you're still fine. But Billy Bob, I'll say this, we'll get to him in a minute. Yeah. I kept expecting him to die in this movie.
Yeah.
Because I saw Not Another Teen Movie, and in Not Another Teen Movie, doesn't he keel over and die?
He shouldn't be that fat. Like, really. He's so overweight that it's a detriment to his health. He should be, like, I'm not knocking anybody who's overweight, but it's like, you shouldn't be playing sports if you're that big.
He was drinking syrup from the bottle,
Yeah.
while he was driving his car.
Like, he's grossly overweight, even for an offensive lineman. Like, there's going to be heart problems,
so
if not head problems already.
He had a higher rate of potentially having a heart attack than brain trauma.
Yes.
Because of
I think he's screwed either way.
Didn't he look like an obese version of John Cena? Like he has, I'm telling you, look up the picture. Yeah. Please look it up. Just look it up if you haven't seen it in a long time. If you haven't watched this movie, look it up. Look up John Cena, then look him up.
They're probably about the same age. It might be twins.
What if they're related?
What if they're twin brothers?
What if he's John Cena's father?
One got super jacked and the other one just got really big, really fat.
John Cena's Bizarro twin. Okay, so you're saying that Kilmer's not as bad as Riley?
No, well, it's hard
this
because
is a tough one.
I need like a prequel to like the Bombay early years of Coach Riley to see what really went on.
Why
in
haven't
the
they
locker
made
room.
that? By the way, they need to Netflix get on it.
Yeah, I feel that there's a potential. See, we can't prove it because we can prove Kilmer's horrible, but we can't prove that Riley isn't worse because they're 9-year-olds. We don't know what he's doing to them.
We haven't seen it.
We know he's brainwashing them.
Well, we just saw that Gordon grew up to be an alcoholic.
Yes,
limo driving.
Yeah, see.
So, I mean, he did traumatize them.
I think there's a high possibility that Riley's an alcoholic.
Alcoholic?
Yeah.
Probably.
Drinking on the job.
What about the wolf, the dentist?
Well, he's just trying to injure kids.
Yeah. He's pretty bad.
I feel like if you combine the two, maybe you do get Kilmer.
Like Kilmer.
You combine Riley and Wolf, you get Kilmer.
He becomes him?
Yeah.
Let me compare him to everybody else's favorite coach. My favorite coach, personally, of anything.
Yeah.
Coach Eric Taylor from Friday Night Lights, coach of the Dillon Panthers.
Let me tell you something.
Come over here. Let me ask you a question.
Come here.
No, how do you think? So take the mind, right?
Yeah.
Coach Taylor is a motivator of men.
Right.
Inspirational coach.
Yeah.
How does he compare to Coach Kilmer? He doesn't obviously have the respect of the players. He's a winner.
Uh-huh.
He's a winner. But Coach Taylor, he's kind of like a hard ass, but in a positive light. Who would win in a game, I guess? Who would outcoach the other?
Well, it's weird because Coach Taylor is like a father figure to the players. Like, you're right. Like, he's a hard ass, but he's like...
You respect
he's
his ass.
respected. They use totally different methods. Kilmer uses intimidation, whereas like if you screw up or you don't do what he says, he's going to kick your ass.
That's good motivation.
Taylor uses his kind of intimidation and his hard assedness, but like you kind of don't want to disobey him.
I'm disappointed in you,
you
son.
don't want to disappoint him. Exactly.
Disappointed in you,
respect him so much that you take him being
like
hard on you because you know that he's looking out for your best interest.
Let me tell you something, son. I'm disappointed in you, son.
But if we're going X's and O's, I think Kilmer's got him on X's and O's. I don't know how good of an X's and O's coach that Taylor actually is.
I mean, when he had Jason Street, they were airing it out.
But that's Jason Street's talent.
Jason Street, has an unfortunate accident, and he's got Matt Saracen, who's this just kind of like just an average quarterback, and he turns him into a state champ.
Yeah,
he turns him into a state champ.
I feel like that was all like
Smash Williams.
That was all motivation. It was, first of all, it was Smash Williams. Second of all, you got Riggins was still on the team.
Yeah, you got him too.
Yeah, and then it was all motivation because, like, take the Eagles example in 2013 with Nick Foles. Did Chip Kelly make Nick Foles a better coach,
a better
player?
I don't know. Maybe the system.
I think it was just like a flash in the pan thing. 1 year wonder Matt Saracen, because the next year Matt Saracen wasn't so good, was he?
No, he wasn't. They tried to get the hot shot young guy in.
They tried to force him in there.
JD McCoy. No,
So
I mean, I don't know. I feel like Taylor, man, he's not getting enough credit here by you.
Taylor's a better coach. I'll say that, but it's close because they use the same methods with different results.
So you're saying that Coach Kilmer knows his X's and O's better, but Eric Taylor is a better motivator.
Yes.
And you're getting, okay, all right.
And Taylor wouldn't shoot a kid up with painkillers.
So who's the real life equivalent of Bud Kilmer then? If we're talking like, fictional coaches, other coaches, we talked about some players in a bit. Who's the real life equivalent?
The obvious slime ball is Bill Belichick.
Yeah.
Because Belichick for sure, like I'm pretty sure Belichick knows how to like give all of his players steroids and like cheat the drug test.
And cheat it? Yeah.
I feel like he knows how. Like, has a Patriot ever failed a drug test? I'm trying to think.
I can't remember a situation where they have.
Like, and I'm talking substance abuse. I'm like the recreational drugs. Like, there's a few that have, but as far as like performance enhancing, I don't think a Patriot has ever failed a performance enhancing drug test.
He got Randy Moss to stop smoking, or make those. He gave him some clean pee.
Yeah. So I feel like there's some way somehow that he's like he's skating these drug tests. So I wouldn't be surprised with the drugs. Intimidation's another thing. He'll kick you off the team if you're screwing up.
Yeah. I would say Chip Kelly is like a poor man's this guy.
Poor man's, but he's not as much of a hard ass though.
You know who I'm going with? I'm going with a formerly disgraced coach from Texas Tech.
Yeah.
Mike Leach. Because he like the guy had a concussion and he like put him in the corner.
Yeah.
Right? That was like a big controversy. Like he did some bad stuff, man. That he got fired. It was like a big deal. And now he's on TV now, so it's all forgiven.
So what about like Bobby Knight, like choking kids,
Knight's
throwing shit
bad.
at kids?
I mean, for going basketball, Bobby Knight's pretty bad. I don't know why, but I feel like Phil Jackson's probably a big jerk too.
I don't know. No, he's all Zen though.
I don't know.
No,
man.
he's pretty even.
See, that's the public perception. That's the public perception.
I don't know. You can't. He coached Shaq. Like, you can't. What are you gonna do? Intimidate Shaq?
I mean, it's different, I guess. But imagine if
You
Phil
can intimidate
Jackson.
Jordan.
Yeah, maybe he did behind
Jordan
closed
probably
doors.
yelled at him more than he yelled at Jordan.
I don't know. Phil Jackson just seems
Like you're barking up the wrong tree.
He seems like he's got that to me.
Yeah.
This is me as a non-basketball fan.
Maybe
so I
Pat
don't know.
Riley.
Pat Riley, actually, yes, because he looks like a villain. He's got the slick back hair.
He's got like the same kind of haircut as
How do we
Kilmer.
know that Pat Riley doesn't go out at night and put a clipped-on ponytail back there too? He's got the slick back hair. Just add the ponytail. Why doesn't Kilmer have a ponytail? He should have got one.
He should have a ponytail.
You
You're
could
right.
have dialed up the villain.
I don't know if that fits the Texas mold.
Yeah,
though.
but you know what? Did you see the beginning of the movie when they had the montage of the parents playing?
Yeah.
They all had freaking mullets. His dad had a giant mullet.
he probably
hanging
used to have a ponytail.
down. Coach Kilmer.
You got me thinking about Pat Riley. You put a ponytail on Pat Riley. He's the final boss.
He does look
He's
like
the final boss.
The final boss of the NBA.
Yeah.
He does. He's, I'm telling you, we said it about Terry Silver every time we talk about him. That ponytail dials up the villainous qualities like by 100.
Yeah, big time. But yeah, I'm going to stick with my Belichick point just because I feel like there's a lot of things behind closed doors that Belichick hides from people that would only scratch the surface.
But if you're a Patriots fan, everyone's out to get you.
We need a whistleblower like John Moxon to uncover all.
Where's
Belichick's
Jimmy Garoppolo
evils.
when we need him?
Yeah,
Or Matt Castle.
Yeah.
Tell us about the deflated footballs.
Matt Castle's going to write a tell-all book at the end of
his career.
Yeah,
So let's jump into some of the players. Talk about Lance Harbor here. Lance Harbor, star quarterback, played by Paul Walker, R.I.P. Terrible actor. Just awful.
really bad in this movie.
Straight off the set of She's All That.
Yeah,
Pretty bad.
frosted tips. Winning smile though. Winning smile.
I mean, it's MTV Films, right? So they got to dial up the eye candy in this movie.
He looks like a quarterback.
He does.
Yeah.
He does.
Got a full ride to Florida State. Dating the hot number one cheerleader, Darcy, played by, what is it, Allie Lauder?
Allie Larder, I think.
Lauder.
Total 90s chick.
Yep. So he's like got everything going for him. But as we said, he's got a bit of a gimpy knee that he's hiding with these shots that may or may not be directly inputted by Coach Kilmer.
So let me speculate on this injury here. Did he have partial tears of the MCL, ACL, PCL that he's getting? Because I thought if you had a sprain, you're going to know it.
It's a partial tear, but you can play through it. Like, he probably has like a partially torn MCL. And when you get shot up with a cortisone before the game, it's kind of like you're on super drugs for the next 5 hours, basically.
It's like hitting turbo.
So any additional damage to the knee, he probably won't feel for the next half a day.
Yeah, and I think you do more damage that way.
And you do more damage, exactly. So when he finally got hurt for real, he probably blew the whole thing out.
So was the injury Billy Bob's fault?
Yes, because his job is to protect the quarterback. And if you're not of sound mind,
He couldn't get out, though.
You should check yourself out.
He couldn't get out.
I don't care what the coach says.
The coach would have kicked his ass. That's what he said. Like, he couldn't do it. I say it's Kilmer's fault because he put Billy Bob in the situation to be just, he's brain dead. Like, the guy had major concussion.
Yeah, but I'm joking around. Like, you can't place the blame on a high school kid. He's just trying to impress his coach.
And he was trying to do well, but
Yeah.
I mean, he got destroyed.
So on the
basically.
play, he passed out when they hiked the ball.
Yeah,
So,
he just fell down.
So there were 2 rushers coming in free at Lance. Poor Lance.
But if Lance was so good, she'd just thrown the ball away.
You think if he had the pocket presence, he could have like scrambled out of there?
Yeah, he could have.
Mox would have.
But actually,
Mox is a better scrambler.
That's what I'm saying. Paul Walker actually looks more like a pocket passer.
Yeah.
He's more of a Tom Brady style,
Yeah.
and I feel like Mox is more like Aaron Rodgers, where he can roll out.
Yeah, I'll tell you. Yeah, Aaron Rodgers is a good comparison to Mox. I feel like Lance Harbor like is very similar to Carson Palmer.
Yeah,
He seems like a Carson Palmer to me.
he's like statuesque.
Yeah.
He can't really run, but he's got a cannon for an arm.
He understands the game.
He knows he's like a wiry veteran.
Yeah.
Just
and,
good.
And again, Carson Palmer is like a hell of a football quarterback name, just like Lance Harbor is.
Carson
They have
Palmer.
similar quarterback names.
Let me ask you this about Lance Harbor. Where can I get that Lance Harbor like lawn billboard?
You can have the Lance Harbor one. I want the Mox one.
Do you think that exists on the Golden Closet? I mean, can we call them up and get that?
Yeah, we got at least inquire about it. But yeah, how much would you pay for that? Like say it was readily available for $399.99.
Like $400?
Would you buy it for $400?
Only if it's the OG movie prop.
Like no, it's the realistic one. Yeah.
But how do they ship that to you? Like they got to have a guy put it in a truck and drive it to you. They can't fold that
You
up.
got to pay like at least $100 for shipping.
Is that so? It's $500.
Yeah, so it's about
Hell
$500.
No, I'll pay that for the Mox one.
You would pay that for the Mox one?
How much is the Billy Bob one worth? Like $50?
Would you put it outside of your house, or like would you try to like get it into your basement somehow and
I feel
have it cover the whole wall?
No, I feel like I'd have to hang it on the wall right here.
Yeah,
Like
It's
right
gotta
behind
be-
this.
Yeah,
That's
All
where
right.
it'd have to be. Have to be on the wall.
Yeah.
But they have these giant billboards in the yards, and I don't know. I've never been to Texas, so I don't know if they actually do this. I know in Friday Night Lights they have the billboards, but it's more like a Donald Trump or Hillary Clinton like sign.
Yeah. You decorate the house.
It's the metal rod sign. You know,
But they do that. They do that here where we're in our hometown, where it's like they go a little less hardcore, but like they'll like spray paint the car with like good luck, and then they'll go to the house and they'll put like
But I mean, this is like
decorations.
Buddy Garrity billboard sign
Yeah.
stuff. You know,
Yeah.
This is like used car salesman stuff here.
Well, they go bigger in Texas, man. I mean, they got those boosters. Money is no object.
So I want to go back to the knee injury for a second. With this knee injury, when he got torn up, was he actually? So he was doing more damage, like you were saying. I want to talk about this in a second. Like, is this like the equivalent if Andy Reid like shot up Jamal Charles and said, "Dude, just go play. Like you're fine. I promise." And
Just
then
suck
he
it
ruins
up.
his career.
Yeah, it's
Like,
it's the same thing.
So you said back in the 90s, you think this happened all the time in the NFL. How many guys' careers were cut short because of coaching like this?
I'm sure it led to a lot of different types of ligament injuries. You look at a guy like Brett Favre who lived on painkillers, but he like kind of survived. He's kind of a dummy now, but he was a dummy before too. So it's kind of like
Oh, he definitely had an opioid addiction.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
I mean, he even said it, right?
yeah. But I feel like this happened a lot more in the 90s, early 90s. Kind of went away a little bit, but as far as we know, at least it's covered up more now. Like they would report, Emmitt Smith took a shot before the game, so he'll be fine. Like they would actually report that. Now it's kind of like hush hush.
Yeah, they don't really advertise it anymore, right?
Yeah.
But after the knee injury, Jonathan Moxon, backup quarterback extraordinaire, reading English books for his English class under the playbook,
Yeah.
is asked to get in this game. Prior to that, we see the ball kind of fly by him and he chucks it and he's got a cannon. Is he the better quarterback? Really? Realistically, is he better than Lance Harbor? Because I think he is.
So the backup quarterback is always like the savior. Especially, I feel like in one season, a backup QB can get hot and outplay the starter. It's happened. And I feel like that's the case in this situation. Like if Mox were to go to college and play for Florida State just as Lance Harbor was going to, I feel like Mox would have crashed and burned because he doesn't have the passion for the game. He may have more physical tools, but he doesn't have like he didn't immerse himself in the game like Lance Harbor did.
But what if he was so smart that he read the playbook and he just knew it right away?
You
Like,
can
he
have the
just sucked
smarts.
it in.
It's okay. You can have the smarts, but you got to have the passion for the game. If you don't care, especially a quarterback, then you're not going to, at the next level, you're going to get cut up.
See, like it's funny because at the end of the movie, we see that Lance Harbor becomes the coach, right?
Yeah.
Where it's normally the opposite. If you look at real life, you got Jason Garrett, who was the backup to Troy Aikman for how many years? Doug
Yeah.
Peterson, the Eagles coach now. How many other quarterbacks? Gary Kubiak, John Elway's backup quarterback.
Yeah.
They always talk about the backup quarterback knows the playbook, knows the game, but doesn't have the physical tools like a starter, so they're a better coach.
Right.
Because it comes easier to them. Like I can't imagine Peyton Manning being a real coach. He probably gets so mad that somebody can't do something.
Yeah, right.
Right? It's like how he yells at his brother all the
Yeah,
time.
why don't you just throw it like I did?
Just throw it like
Yeah,
this.
yeah.
What do you mean you don't know how to do it?
Yeah.
So I think they got the roles a little reversed. I feel like Mox would be a better coach.
Yeah.
But I don't think he cares about the game enough. Like
He doesn't care about the game enough. Yeah.
But he certainly has some physical tools here. He's got a cannon for an arm.
Like, I compare it to Willie Beeman kind of at any given Sunday.
Yeah.
Where he went on that run and then it's like you don't see the next season. How do we know that Willie Beeman's a good quarterback? I think he just went on a hot run.
Well, I mean, back to Friday Night Lights, you got Vince Howard.
Yeah.
Vince Howard was pretty good.
Yeah, Vince Howard was good for 2 years, though.
He was
We
pretty
saw
good.
2 years of Vince Howard.
I guess Saracen, like you said.
Saracen is the comp where went on a hot streak after coming in for the injury. Jason Street, second year, not so good.
I'm thinking back to Penn State football.
Yeah.
Zach Mills. He was like, he had Larry Johnson the one year, and then the next year it was just garbage.
Oh, what happened? Why is Zach Mills not good anymore?
Total garbage.
Yeah.
And then you have Anthony Morelli, who's awful too. God, he was bad. But yeah, I mean, I guess this guy's got a cannon for an arm. He certainly has some legs. He can scramble.
That's the difference. He brings a running dynamic to the game that Lance Harbor didn't have.
And I feel he definitely knew the playbook, although
Yeah.
you would argue the opposite. You said he doesn't know the playbook.
No, well, he might be smart enough to read the playbook back and forward and remember it, but he's not like immersed in it, I feel. Like he doesn't, like he's not fully invested.
How
He's
about
thinking
his,
about Brown.
How about his personality? How's his personality as a leader?
Well, as we like get into Mox and move away from Lance Harbor, this is where the story takes a turn. So Coach Kilmer has full control of this team up until the second Lance Harbor's knee snaps. Because once he's forced to put Moxon in the game, which he hates him already, because exactly as we're talking about, he doesn't care about West Canaan football the way the rest of the team does. He cares about his academic scholarship to Brown. So the second Mox becomes quarterback of this team, he starts to lose control because Mox is loose cannon. He's kind of the rallier of the troops. They might listen to this kid. He's too smart for his own good.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
Too smart for his own
He's
good.
too smart for Kilmer's good. Right? So in a nutshell, how would you describe the one Johnny Moxon?
I think Aaron Rodgers is a good example. Not saying that he is Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
He's got that personality where he's making stuff up on the fly here.
Yeah.
Looks like he's changing plays at the line of scrimmage, whereas the other dude's just kind of going by what the coach says, like you said. I mean, he's trucking the ball, doing all kinds of stuff. He's got some physical tools. Moxon's got the brain power, too.
Yeah.
He's a scholar athlete, full scholarship to Brown, like you said. I just feel like he's got it. He doesn't want to play, though. That's the thing. He's got it. And it starts to get to his head a little bit, which I don't blame him because he's the star quarterback of this team. He should be allowed to enjoy it a little bit. And Amy Smart just gets a little mad at him because it gets to his head a little
His
bit.
wet blanket girlfriend.
He wasn't really doing anything that bad. Like people were talking to him. The radio comes to talk to him. Interesting dynamic, though. He's dating Lance Harbor's younger sister.
Yeah.
And they don't really say anything.
a little odd because they're like best friends.
And it's weird because her brother's laid up in the hospital,
Yep.
busted up knee.
Yep.
He's on the radio giving interviews about how he won the game, and she's like congratulating him. So she's conflicted.
Yeah.
She's mad about her brother being hurt, but she hates football. She likes him. What the hell's going on there?
She shouldn't and doesn't care about football after her brother gets hurt. And I feel like she shouldn't even care. Why would she even go to the games? And like the fact that she's like dating Mox and now she doesn't want to date Mox or she's like playing
Because he's
like,
a football player.
Because now he's a football player before he wasn't when he was on the bench. I thought it was kind of odd. It seemed like an unnecessary kind of like dynamic to the movie.
Total MTV move there.
It's an MTV move for sure. But the thing about Moxon is that he like immediately assumed like leader of this locker room and rallied like this like screw Coach Kilmer philosophy.
If I believe it correctly, it said F Coach Kilmer.
And I believe the term for that is like locker room cancer.
Yes.
I believe is the correct term for
He's
that.
like a Terrell Owens.
Yeah. Even though Kilmer's doing shady practices with the drugs, and I still stand by the fact that Kilmer's not that bad of a guy off of that. Like, yeah, he's a bad guy, but what do you want from him? He's trying to win state championships.
You heard it here, folks. You heard it here, folks.
If he wasn't that way, they wouldn't be winning all these division titles. All right? So the minute Mox gets in there, they're continuing to win, but at the same time, he's like completely changing the dynamic of this team.
And it works because the team starts to really hate Kilmer.
Let me ask you this question. Did it work? Did they have an undefeated season?
No, they didn't.
Why did they have an undefeated season, Drew?
Because Moxon decides to have a team meeting with his best friends at the strip club, at the landing strip.
A day before the game.
What
a
are they
road
doing?
game.
And I remember they said, "Oh, what are we doing? Like, we got a game tomorrow." He's like, whatever, we'll be fine. We'll be fine. Total out of character for him.
Yeah.
That doesn't seem like something they would do.
Yeah. So they're trying to like do a nice thing for Lance, right? Let's take Lance out because he's been in the hospital. Let's show him a good time at the landing strip.
Which is so weird because, again, after having seen this after watching Friday Night Lights, I'm imagining like a scene where he actually does like bang his girlfriend and all this stuff. It's like such a weird dynamic. And they go to the landing strip, same name as Friday Night Lights. Like there's all of these movies and shows have so many similarities in a good way, right?
Well, then you maybe remember a good point about Friday Night Lights, the comp. So Riggins screws
Lila,
right? Which is a total violation.
Oh, absolutely.
Right? For streets.
Well, his friend's paralyzed.
With street being hurt and all.
Not paralyzed.
Paralyzed being the worst of the words.
I mean, that is like total violation.
Mox would not have sex with Darcy, even though she seduced him with a whipped cream bikini, out of respect for Lance and Julie / Amy Smart. So Mox is a much more stand-up guy than Tim Riggins ever was.
Well, but Tim Riggins never claimed to be a stand-up guy. I
guess he was kind of a dirtbag.
He's like hooking up with his 35-year-old neighbor who has a kid.
But he had a heart of gold, though.
He did. He was a nice guy.
Yeah.
But he never claimed to be a good person.
The second he hooked up with Lila, that was like it, man.
Oh,
you hooked up with your paralyzed best friend's future wife?
That's all time.
At the time they were going to be married.
Yes. Listen, all-time violation.
Yeah.
All time. Like highest violation that we've ever talked about on the show.
I mean, if you hook up with a friend's former boyfriend or girlfriend, that's like all the edges of you never do that, right?
Oh, absolutely.
But that is to the nth degree if your friend happens to be paralyzed now.
Freshly paralyzed
too.
Freshly
paralyzed.
I mean, not to make light of that, but really, I mean, it just so for people who haven't seen the show, we're talking about Friday Night Lights. A lot of similarities to this movie, but the guy, first episode of the season, the guy has it's a like almost life-ending injury, gets paralyzed. Him and his girlfriend were about to be married. Long story short, his best friend hooks up with her.
Head cheerleader
Hooks up with this girl. And it's like a passionate thing. Yeah. They always kind of had eyes for each other. So I know we're on kind of a tangent, but it has some overlap with the same movie here that we're talking about. Total violation. Biggest violation ever on this show, ever.
So at least Mox is no Riggins. Right?
He didn't fall for the bikini trick.
Yeah, no, he didn't. Everyone does.
Everyone does.
Lance
did. And also another Friday Night Lights thing, as I keep talking about the show, I keep wanting to call Lance Landry because Coach Taylor kept calling Landry Lance. Get over here, Lance. No, but so they go to the meeting at this strip club. Back to the movie. Back to the movie for a second. They go to the meeting at the strip club. Who do they see stripping?
Sex ed teacher.
The sex ed teacher. Let me ask you this. How in the hell is this teacher, like, especially in this part of Texas, where I got to imagine the town is not that big.
Small town Texas.
They're not in a bigger town. You know, it's not like she's over in this hole in the wall at some other place. It's like down the street. How would these guys get into this place? How is she like secretly, she took her glasses off like Clark Kent. She became Superman. It's like she's stripping.
I will say this though, with her glasses off and the makeup on and the hair down, you had to do like a double take to make sure it's really her.
Well, they did too. They were like, wait, is that her?
Yeah. So get away with it. And I'd imagine they don't have students in there that often.
You imagine they don't have students at a strip club often?
As we find out throughout the movie, like the football players, they do what they want. Like Mox goes up to get a 6-pack of soda and the cashier like replaces it with beer and say, here you go on the house.
Yeah, you don't owe me anything.
Tweeter steals a cop car and the cops are like, oh, boys will be boys because Coach Kilmer intimidates him.
Hold on. Not only does he intimidate him, right? They're sitting in the bar, the cops complaining to another guy at the bar about how the kids are being jerks, right? They're just running amok in the town.
Amok throughout the town.
And Kilmer's sitting there in the shadows, like in the back.
Like a snake.
And he's like, he just pops up. And they're like, oh yeah, these kids are being jerks. And he's like, are my boys giving you trouble? He like just pops out like a snake. And the guy's like, no, they're not giving us trouble. Boys will be boys. Yeah. That's how much of a stranglehold Kilmer has on this town.
And that's like a good thing if you're a football fan of this, if you're a fan of this football team. That leads me to believe that Kilmer wasn't that bad of a coach.
So if they committed murder, is he like,
got to cover that shit up, man.
Boys will be boys.
Boys will be boys.
Just like in
Depends
Friday Night
on
Lights.
who murdered him. If the quarterback murdered someone, you cover that up. But if it's like the backup tight end, it's like, yeah, you let him take the fall. So as to prove,
they don't need him.
As to prove that the whole team isn't bulletproof, right?
Right. Yeah, like so, you got to make an example out of somebody.
Yeah, right.
Not the quarterback.
Yeah, or maybe even like have the kicker take the fall for the quarterback, so someone has to go to jail, right? Just like what's his face said, National Treasure. Somebody's got to go to jail.
Somebody's got to go to jail
here.
They should get Sean Bean up in Boston.
Yeah. So back to the story. So Vander Beek takes the team, or when I say the team, I mean all the cool kids.
Only his friends.
The clique, all of these friends. We got Tweeter, we got Wendell, the running back. Tweeter's the receiver, played by Scott Conn. We didn't mention him yet.
Perfect.
We'll get to him
Perfect
later.
casting.
Yeah. You got Lance laid up, and you got Billy Bob. So they go to the strip club. They get hammered. They come out of the strip club. It's morning, right? It's like they got school.
The sun's out.
They got school in 2 hours. So they're hungover. They're playing this game. It's raining. It's a road game. They get their asses kicked. Hardcore. Blowout. Perfect season gone. Coach Kilmer just goes on this tirade about how Billy Bob cost him his perfect season, gets on him about how he hurt Lance, and how Lance being hurt is the reason that they're not undefeated because Mox came in and cancerous kind of screwed up the team. He infested the team.
He did.
Yeah.
He did. You know, going back to the game for a second, having not seen it all the way through until we just watched this, or like I said, I've seen bits and pieces of the movie, so I knew the characters and all that.
Yeah.
When he had the speech, like they're in the huddle and they're getting their ass kicked.
Yeah.
He gives a speech. He's like, guys, we got to score a touchdown.
Yeah.
We got to. And I kept thinking, all right, they're going to come back and win this game. No, I'm pretty sure they got shut out.
No, like the next play, he gets like decleated. Like he gets hammered.
And it was a montage of every type of like hit that the NFL wants to do without.
Yeah.
It's like helmet to helmet hit, guys doing helicopter spins in the air. Like John Elway, when he scored that touchdown in the Super Bowl that one time, he like gets flipped around in the air. Like these guys, I'm surprised none of them got paralyzed with some of the hits.
Here's my question, and I'll see if we can bend reality a little bit here. There's only 4 guys that were playing on that whole team that got drunk, right?
Right.
None of the defense got drunk, and they have a great defense too.
Oh, that's what I was going to say.
So why
to you.
couldn't this be like a 13-10 close game? They had to show the game montage that they got beat by 40 points.
Yeah.
Was Mox just throwing picks all day?
Well, they didn't show any. Like it was just the offense. So it couldn't, like you said, couldn't they have scored any defensive touchdowns?
They still could have made this like a dramatic, like maybe we have a chance, but they had to show the blowout to like fully get like the moment that Mox really screwed this one.
Well,
up.
that's just the thing, right? So even in the end, when Mox has his halftime rebellion, they're showing the players' faces. I'm like, I haven't seen this guy all movie.
We
Who
don't
the
know
hell
if-
is this guy?
How do we know the defense cares? Like the defense probably loves Kilmer, right?
Yeah, oh yeah. Like they probably think he's a great coach. He's like, he's helping us stay off the field.
Yeah, all the offensive linemen must love him, except for Billy Bob, because he personally blamed Billy Bob for getting his quarterback injured. He probably can't sleep at night because of it.
You know who would love this coach?
Huh.
I'm going total Philly here. Seth Joyner.
Seth
Joyner. I don't know if anybody watches. There's a local post-game thing for the Eagles. We're Eagles fans on this show. We watch the Eagles all the time. This guy's like an old school player, old school guy, played on the Eagles. Yeah. He's all about old school methodologies. I feel like he would love Bud Kilmer.
Yeah.
A guy like Deacon Jones, all these old school players, they probably love him.
Taking a shot or two at their lives.
Oh, they probably love him.
So not to gloss over the movie, after that loss, long story short, Kilmer's relationship with Mox deteriorates all the way to the point where at the championship game, and Mox pretty much leads a locker room rebellion. In so many words.
A friend of mine's fantasy football team name once, our friend Andrew, his name was Moxon's Halftime Rebellion, which now I finally fully get it. Like I got it at the time, but I even get it more. Great team name. But yeah, he leads that rebellion. Kilmer is like just flabbergasted that somebody would stand up to him.
So he was like saying, all right, fine, leave Moxon. Go ahead and be a quitter. I'll have Tweeter take the snaps. He wants the backup receiver. He wants the receiver to take the quarterback snaps.
That'll do it.
Tweeter's like, no, not going to do it. I'm going to be with Moxon. And then everyone else pretty much, get out, coach. We've had enough of your shit. We're going to roll with Moxon, which was kind of short-sighted on their part. But realistic, what do you think?
I mean, he saw Wendell trying to get a shot in the foot. Yeah. Was it his foot or his ankle or something?
It's his knee.
His knee,
he
whatever.
Hurt his knee earlier in the half.
And Harbor comes in and says, don't do it, bro.
Don't do it, yeah.
Don't do it. You'll end up like me. So that's like what incited the whole thing?
You know what the best line of the movie was?
What was it?
When Kilmer was like, what you going to do, take advice from a gimp? Called Lance Harbor a gimp. Completely discarded him. He was his golden boy a couple weeks ago until he got hurt. Now he's a gimp.
Oh, so bad, dude. So bad. I can't believe he said that. And it's like, he was just all about it, man. Yeah. It's like, what is he doing? I don't get it.
So Mox gives this rousing speech to where let's play the next 24 minutes of our lives for the next 24 minutes of our lives instead of playing this game for the rest of our lives. Let's play it for right now, right in the moment. And the locker room goes nuts. Coach Kilmer is kicked out of the locker room. He walks away. He's very sad.
Where's the assistant coaches? Don't they have the defensive coordinator? There's just nobody in there. Coach Kilmer's a one-man show.
Yeah, so Kilmer's like, all right, boys, let's get on that field. Let's go. He's clapping his hand.
He goes
Only
out
one
back.
person's clapping. It's like he gets out there. Nobody follows him. He walks down the tunnel. All right, boys, let's go. Nobody's following
It's
him.
like a dark tunnel.
Yeah.
Like his soul. It's just so depressing.
He just walks away as they show banners. He's walking under banners of all his division titles, all of his district championships. So now Lance Harbor is the coach of the team.
Total, like,
They're running oop-de-oops.
total amateur.
They're running Statue of Liberty plays. They're throwing the ball to Billy Bob.
Is that like the origin of the Wildcat right there?
Yeah.
Like they don't know what else to do, so
Yep.
it's just direct snap to everybody.
Oop-de freaking oop. Give me a break.
I mean, it's like, this is Texas, right? So this is like big time football operations. It's not like some amateur, school just in nowhere. These guys know what they're doing. They've got, $60 million stadiums here. They've got jumbotrons. I mean, this is high school football rules there, right? How do they not have a defensive coordinator that could just step it up? There's nobody else. Like he's literally the only coach.
Where are the rest of the adults? There's more than one coach.
Just the trainer.
Yeah. So how did Lance Harbor become the coach
You
of
had
the
the
team?
headset too. You got the headset.
It's full mutiny. It's mutiny.
You had the headset. Why didn't one of the? You know what would have really happened?
Yeah.
One of the parents would have came down and said,
Yeah.
"All right, I'm coaching now."
Yeah. Who's running this show here, boys? Yeah.
like Lance's dad.
Yeah.
Because that guy wanted to do everything himself.
Sure.
I don't get it. Like, and then the coach also, by the way, the trainer is an assistant coach from Friday Night Lights. There's a lot of overlap in all these.
Yeah.
I wish they had more with like the boosters.
It's like football extras, if you will.
Don't you think wish they had more with the boosters? Like they kind of had it a little bit. The townies.
They could have made it a 2-hour movie, but I think they wanted to streamline it.
It
could have been a plot. You're right.
Yeah, I would have loved to
Could
see
have
more
been.
with the boosters because
Yeah.
that's one of the things that I loved about Friday
Yeah.
Night Lights. Buddy Garrity's one of my favorite characters ever.
So obviously we're not talking too much plot in this movie, but long story short, they go out there at halftime without Kilmer. They win the big game. They win the state title with Lance. Lance gets the Gatorade bath. Johnny Knoxville.
Johnny Knoxville.
Johnny Moxville. That's his last game he ever plays, blah, blah, blah. So what'd you think of James Vanderbeek in this movie?
I thought he was terrible, but it was like he was terrible.
All right.
But it was so like endearing.
Let me ask you this question. Let me rephrase it. Was anybody good in this movie, acting-wise?
Scott Conn.
Scott Conn was good?
Because Scott Conn
All right.
is acting like himself.
So
he's
Tweeter,
acting like a
the
dumbass.
crazy receiver, and obviously Kilmer was good.
No,
Everyone else is pretty bad, right?
Yeah, John Voight was great.
Yeah.
I thought actually Wendell didn't get enough time.
I didn't think he was good though either.
He was all right.
He had dramatic moments, and he was like overly dramatic.
He was all right.
He's no Smash Williams.
I thought probably Amy Smart was actually pretty good too.
Yeah, well, she's like she's a professional actor. Like her and John Voight are only like the only professionals in this movie, really.
They were in stuff.
Because Mox is a Dawson, and who else?
Every time I think of Vanderbeek, I only think of that meme of him crying.
yeah,
That's what I think.
and Paul Walker was just a pretty face at that point. He got better.
He became a good actor.
He became better, but it
became
took a
good.
while. It took post Fast and Furious. He was even bad in Fast 1.
Yeah.
Actually, like Vin Diesel acted circles around him in Fast
Which
1.
is not saying
Yeah.
much. It's not saying
Yeah.
much.
But he got better. The point is he got better.
No, I thought Vanderbeek was terrible, but he was terrible in a great way.
Yeah.
Like it fit the MTV films perfectly. And he was,
Right.
you couldn't recast him because I couldn't, put it this way, I couldn't pick somebody to take his place.
No.
He was perfect for the role.
90s star with a hold on the teens, and he has a football build. He kind of looks like a football player a little bit too. So it all works out.
Before you move on from this, I want to go back to something you said right before we talked about Vanderbeek. You said they won the 23rd title or something, right? So Bud Kilmer won his 23rd
Oh, he gets
consecutive
credit
title,
for
right?
the whole year, of course.
He coached most of the year.
Yeah,
so
no, he gets credit for that state title.
I mean, he won that state title.
Yeah.
I mean, let's not forget it. Like, yeah, he walked off at halftime. Maybe they thought he was taking a dump. He had to go to the bathroom.
yeah, he might have had health complications. Nobody knows.
This stuff. He had heartburn. He had to
Yeah.
go get some Zantac.
The announcer, he was confused. He says, "Oh, no sign of Coach Kilmer. Like, where is he? Like, they nobody knew."
He walked off and no one
Yeah.
ever saw him again. Yeah, so talk about the teammates a little bit. We mentioned Scott Conn. He was probably he was not a great actor either. Don't get me wrong.
No, he was the comic relief.
he
in
was
the movie.
putting a clinic on.
Yeah.
It's just he was comedy relief and he was funny. And he plays this kind of character in Entourage, one of our favorite shows. He plays this character in other things. I think he's in Hawaii Five-0. I don't watch that, but he was like a meathead, right? Meathead wide receiver.
Right.
So one of the things I think we
Sex
should
maniac.
drunken driving cop
Mischief.
cars.
He's a mischievous fellow. He's not a criminal. He's just mischievous.
I want to compare some of these players to their real life equivalents.
All right.
So let's take Scott Conn, wide receiver, stealing cop cars, naked drunk driving, clowning old guys at the party, which also another creepy thing. Guy from the class of 1980 trying to hang out with people 20
Got his
years
jacket
later.
on. You know he's looking for some.
That's
some
like
high school
underage.
girls.
Like
yeah.
that is dangerous there.
Get out of the party, guy.
Who is Scott Conn or Tweeter's NFL equivalent?
See, this is a trap.
You know who I'm thinking
Yeah,
of.
this is a trap because you see, scrappy white wide receiver. You're going to compare him to Wes Welker, aren't you?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's what I wrote down. Wes Welker. I'm thinking of him at the Kentucky Derby handing out drunken dollars.
So Wes Welker was famously drunk at the Kentucky Derby, which was hilarious. But Julian Edelman is also kind of a dick, and he plays the same scrappy receiver mold.
Oh, yeah.
But I'll tell you what, though, he wins a lot of jump balls, and for his size, he's very small. He reminds me of a less focused Steve Smith.
Yeah, I could see that.
He's got Steve Smith's body
He's got
type.
the scrappiness.
Without the bad attitude. Without the I'm going to kill you attitude.
He just got the drunk attitude.
He just has the drunk
I'm pretty
attitude.
sure that after the movie was over, they showed him on the field celebrating, pouring beers into his face.
Yes. On the field.
They don't care. They just won.
In front of the school principal and the superintendent.
That was pretty
and all
funny.
the parents.
What about Billy Bob?
Boys will be boys, right?
What about Billy Bob?
Billy Bob. You already deemed Fat John Cena.
Fat John Cena.
Which was a great call.
Who's his equivalent? Who would you call him?
Linemen don't have personalities in the NFL. Let's just go John Runyon because we're Eagles fans.
And I mentioned earlier, I thought he died in this movie. I was waiting for him to die. I really did, because I kept thinking, all right, he's blue, he's in the classroom, he's going to pass out. He looks like he's going to die.
How does he fit in one of those high school seats is my question.
He didn't. He tried to get up and it was stuck to his ass. He was so fat. That's the kind of guy, man, like you said, he's got health problems outside of CTE.
Shirt wet with sweat, man.
What about Wendell, as they said. Wendell.
See, it's obvious. We have to compare him to Smash.
Smash Williams?
Friday Night Lights. Who's better?
Oh, man. See, I didn't see enough of Wendell. I didn't see, he didn't
He
really
was
score
ripping
touchdowns.
up the yardage, though.
Yeah, but he got tackled at the 2 every time.
Well, yeah, of course. Is that a knock on him? He complained about not getting touchdowns, and it's partially because of the racism of Bud Kilmer, or perceived racism.
What if you want to give him a
sometimes.
rest? What if you want to give him a rest?
Yeah, but the fact that he kept getting tackled at the 2-1 yard line is that indicative of his type of how his playing?
See, I'm gonna liken this back to, I think it was a few years ago in fantasy football. This is the kind of guy you don't draft in fantasy football,
Right,
because
yeah.
he's going to get all the yardage, not get the touchdowns. Remember
Yeah.
D'Angelo Williams back in the day?
Well, Calvin Johnson is another one. Calvin Johnson is notoriously got tackled at the 1 yard line.
Same with Andre Johnson
Yeah.
back in the day.
Yeah.
He never scored
So-
touchdowns.
Is that his fault that he's not scoring? Yeah, maybe you want to give it to him because he got you there, but get in the end zone, Wendell.
Put it
Come
this
on.
way, he was mad about college scouts not seeing his talent because he
Yeah.
wasn't scoring touchdowns. If they're at the game, they can see
They
he's
don't
got,
care
he's
about
got
the touchdowns.
speed,
If they're
man.
watching the game, yeah.
But Moxon helps him out anyway, though.
Yeah.
He changes the play.
Changes the play.
Another
because-
reason.
Yep, Mox always changing the play. I don't think he knows the playbook. We talk about him being too smart, and maybe he knew the playbook right away, but I think he's just throwing plays out there.
But I mean, look, I don't want to downplay high school football here, especially in Texas, because it's kind of college level. It's you go to high school, you have AP classes. I feel like AP classes are
Yeah.
college level courses.
Yeah.
I feel like high school football in college, or in high school football in Texas, is AP football. It's like AP level football. You're preparing for college.
yeah.
And I feel that he himself knew the playbook, but what's to say that he couldn't sit there and just say, all right, you run a post, you run this, you run that, just make it up on the fly.
That's why Kilmer hated him.
But it worked. I guess it's against the game plan, but
The
he could
coach
just
hates
do
that
it.
shit, man.
He needs to know what's happening.
Yeah. You remember when Voodoo was changing the play on Coach Taylor?
Coach Taylor was so
on
bad.
Friday Night Lights? That was the end of the world.
That was
with Taylor,
pretty bad.
Even though they scored.
See, but that's the thing. You see it from the perspective of who you like, right? So Kilmer's the
Yeah.
villain, so you have no sympathy for him.
Yeah.
Because you're like, oh, whatever, who cares? Moxon knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
But if you see it the other way, Voodoo, it's he's just a cocky jerk. And Eric Taylor's the guy, he's like, what are you doing? What the hell are you doing?
What the hell are you doing?
What are you doing?
Who made that call?
Get
Who
over
made
here.
that call?
Let me talk to you for a second.
Come here.
That's
Come
what
here.
he does. What about Allie Larder? We talked a little bit about some of these people. Darcy, the head cheerleader, seems like she's just attached to the stars.
It's a stereotypical head cheerleader dating the football star, gets hurt, and now she how am I going to get out of this town now? There's no way to get out of the town because she was going to get a free ride to a possible NFL star.
Can't really compare her to anybody. It's just another character in the movie. And like her, in the same light, you've got Lance Harbor's sister, Amy Smart, playing Julie or Jules. Same thing. We kind of mentioned a little bit earlier. She didn't like when Mox became a little bit of a star. She was kind of frustrated by that.
Oh my
Stupid.
God. Is that star quarterback John Moxon at my window?
And then she likes him at the end. So it's
Yeah.
whatever. We can gloss over her too. But and another unnecessary character, completely unnecessary side plot, which made no sense. They should have just cut it out.
Yeah.
Moxon's brother, the whole religious thing.
Being religious.
He picked a new religion, started a cult. It just seemed so dumb. It didn't have any
Tell you
purpose.
what, though, at the end of the movie, when Mox won the game by himself with the Kilmer was kicked out, after the game was over, they show a shot of his brother looking on approvingly, not in any religious garb.
Like, yes.
Like, yeah, I want a piece of this. I feel like he went on to do some football things later on in life.
Yeah.
So I feel like maybe he's going to follow in his brother's footsteps, which would be perfect for Mox's dad, because maybe his younger son would want his life.
More Varsity Blues.
Varsity Blues 2.
Varsity Blues 2 again. So let's talk a little bit about what happened to some of these guys after the movie. There's a little speech that Mox gives as the credits are kind of rolling and Khan's pouring beer in his face.
Yeah.
Let's go through some of the characters. Tell me what you think happened after. So let's start with Tweeter.
So they said Tweeter drinks beer because Tweeter drinks beer. But what really happened to Tweeter? So I say he obviously he's a very talented receiver, right?
He's very good.
He stays in state. He goes to Texas Tech. And I feel like it's kind of like a Riggins thing where it's like he doesn't fit in college. He gets in a little bit too much trouble, gets booted at maybe his sophomore year, and he's kind of like he's like his life is a waste.
And he just goes into a downward spiral.
It's a Johnny Manziel situation.
Like a drug violation thing?
Yeah. Even if he were to make it to the NFL somehow, some way, he had the talent to do it, it would be a Johnny Manziel kicked out of the league type of situation. I think he's like borderline alcoholic now and he's only 18 years old. Wait till he gets a little bit more success. What about Billy Bob for you?
So Billy Bob, I'm going to say that he goes on to have a successful college career. He looks like he would be good. He loses a little weight, trims it down,
Okay.
puts some muscle on, gets drafted in the second round by the Cardinals, Arizona Cardinals.
Nice success story.
But he has lingering effects of CTE due to the enhanced, specialists in the NFL who are really looking out for this, and he has to retire, unfortunately.
Well, let's look
Fortunately for him.
Let's look at the timeline. So if we're going to follow the 1999 timeline, so he'd be in the pros in 2004.
Okay, so it's before they really cared.
05 if he was redshirted.
Before they cared.
The concussion thing was kind of still the new front there, right?
Maybe he just had a lot of headaches and he didn't feel good and he had to retire.
Yeah.
It wasn't because of the NFL. He just didn't feel right.
Put it this way, he didn't have a 10-year career.
No, he didn't. How about Wendell?
All right, so because of the touchdown that he scored, that Mox got him in that end zone, he got that full ride to Grambling, as they said in the end credits. I think he went on like super talented receiver. He's better than Juice Williams.
Smash Williams.
It's better than Smash Williams. Who's Juice Williams? That's a guy.
I can't remember.
Whatever. So he breaks Grambling records, all-time rushing leader at Grambling. But since Grambling's a small school, he gets undrafted out of college, latches on to the Cleveland Browns, and peters out. He did some kick returns for them, and that's really it.
Juice Williams was that Illinois quarterback.
Oh, the Illinois quarterback. All right,
Remember that
that's
guy?
a real guy.
He looked awesome. He's currently playing for the Chicago Slaughter, by the way.
Oh, I thought
he
he would go CFL. He went Arena.
No, I just looked it up. Yeah, Chicago Slaughter. That guy was awesome back in
He
college.
was.
I could see that. I could see what you're saying.
So what did Moxon do?
Moxon is a tough one here. Now, I think we don't want to underestimate his intelligence here. So he goes on, I say he earns a journalism degree. He goes to Brown, gets his full scholarship. Coach Kilmer doesn't lampoon his career, doesn't screw him over. And he goes on to expose the atrocities of Coach Kilmer. I'm saying he's writing a tell-all book called Playing for the Enemy, the Downfall of Bud Kilmer.
Oh, he got a colon in his book.
Yeah, listen, you got to have a colon. If anyone listens to this show, you know he's got a colon. It's called Playing for the Enemy, the Downfall of Bud Kilmer. Yeah. And he goes and exposes this guy for who he is.
Oh, man, that Brown thing. So it's coming back to haunt him. And so what does he become, like a professional whistleblower? What does he do?
The professional? if you're a professional whistleblower, like how could you go to like a different company? They're not going to hire you because they know that you're a whistleblower. I guess
you can only whistleblow one time.
The whistle has been blown. Yeah. You gotta blow it wisely. What about Coach Lance Harbor?
So was this like the wisest whistle he could blow?
Oh yeah.
So is this like, did he really like blow his wad here on Coach Kilmer, or should he have waited to blow a better whistle?
But he had it in the bank, so maybe he waited to see what the next whistle to be blown was.
He needed a break to bust out in his writing career.
Yeah, he needed that, and then he's like, all right, this is probably where I can make the most impact. So then he blows the whistle on Kilmer. So what about Coach Lance Harbor?
All right, well, Coach Lance Harbor has a very interesting future. All right, it's a vicious cycle. So he's a player's coach, right? So upon the pressures of trying to win for West Canaan, he kind of falls into the same methods as fired Coach Kilmer, right? So
he's doing abuse?
Starting to abuse the kids because, hey, gotta win. Because he figures out after 10 years, I'm not going to win on my smile anymore. It's not all fun and
The good
games.
looks fade, man.
It's not fun and games anymore.
He can't exercise like he used to. He can't put a little weight on.
Yeah.
He's got a bum knee.
So he turns into another little Bud Kilmer. And he starts to ride that success until Johnny Moxon's younger brother shows up to play quarterback senior year and blows the whistle on
He's
him.
a whistleblower too.
Yes.
He's a whistleblower. I like it. I can see that happening.
Yeah. So that's the future of Lance Harbor. So what about Amy Smart? What happened to her?
Still working at the burger stand.
Still working. She didn't get out.
No,
She
still,
seemed most likely to get out of West Canaan.
She's still, but I don't know what her academic situation was.
They didn't develop her character, so all we know that she's working at that burger
She's still
stand.
at the burger stand
Yeah.
to me. So, she probably could be a Brown too. Who the hell knows? Maybe she went to like Harvard or something. But as far as I know, based on what the movie told me, she's at the burger stand.
Let's go parallels here. So John Moxon, he went to Brown, became a successful journalist.
Yeah.
And a character played by Amy Smart stayed back and worked at a burger stand / bar. So like can we do like a Just Friends
Just
thing
Friends?
where Mox comes back and like she's still working there? Is that
Dude, let me talk about Just Friends for a second. One of my favorite, most underrated movies that it's not really that good, but it's just a great movie.
I think we've mentioned it before.
It's
on the pod.
so fun.
Yeah.
If anyone hasn't watched it, go out and watch it. It's a great Christmas movie.
And
What about Darcy?
so Darcy, so she kind of had a rough go of it after senior year. She broke up with Lance because Lance got too wrapped up in his coaching. So she ended up working at the landing strip.
I mean, he just like Kilmer, he didn't have time for his companionship.
So she was like down and out of her luck, went to the strip club, started stripping. But after like 6 months, she realized, you know what? I can do things for myself. I don't have to settle for this life at West Canaan. She makes enough money to get herself into school, becomes the second female president of the United States of America.
This reminds me of Tara from Friday Night Lights, and not to keep
Yeah.
going back to this show. Hopefully people know what we're talking about, but very similar
Compare
character.
one with the other. They're very similar.
Very similar character.
Finally, Coach Kilmer.
Dude, Coach Kilmer walks off at halftime, still gets credit for that 23rd consecutive
Oh,
district
yeah.
championship, moves to Oklahoma, becomes an offensive line coach, works his way to the top, and wins 2 NCAA championships with Oklahoma. He wins it all, man. He's a winner.
Go to
He's just a
Oklahoma.
winner, dude. He's a winner.
So in the overlay, Beek says, Kilmer never coached again.
Parentheses here.
Here. How the heck does he know he never coached again?
I guess he blew the whistle, but it was after he won the
It was after
NCAA
the
championships.
fact, yeah. Look, the wins don't lie, baby. He'll get back into coaching.
I'm serious, though. Someone will pick him
Yeah.
up.
You just got to go over state, baby. Got to go over state. So we've gone on long enough about high school football. We should probably wrap this up. But we can't do that without comparing this movie quickly to other football movies. Let's run down some movies and see would we take this movie over other movies. Now, I'm personally biased. I love this movie. So let's run a test and see if another football movie could break my love of this movie.
So I got a list, and I created a list of all other football movies that compare to this.
Yeah.
Pretend you're in a situation where you have 2 cable channels, and all you can watch is one or the other. So you have a cable channel that plays Varsity Blues 24/7 forever,
Yeah.
and you have to choose. So I'm going to give you some movies rapid fire. Tell me which one you'd pick, and maybe a quick reason why.
Yeah.
So Varsity Blues or Any Given Sunday?
That's a tough one right off the bat, man.
You got to pick quick.
I'm going to go Varsity Blues only because Any Given Sunday is like 2.5 hours.
It's too long?
Sometimes it's a little self-indulgent. It's called slow at a couple points. Varsity Blues is quick 80 minutes of action.
Okay.
Out. Comedy.
Fair enough.
Done.
How about Varsity Blues or Friday Night Lights?
The movie or the show?
The movie, not the show.
Gonna take Varsity Blues.
It's more fun.
It's more fun, even though Movie Miles is Movie Miles.
I mean, you from Midland.
Yeah, and the quarterback's pretty dull. Pretty much he's half a studod, as Mike Missinelli would say.
Mike Missinelli. All right. Mike Missinelli reminds me of a wannabe Sopranos character.
Yeah,
All right, Varsity Blues or one of our favorites on this show, The Replacements.
Varsity Blues, hands down.
Man, you picking that over this?
Yes.
All right. How about Varsity Blues or Rudy?
Oof.
I
Varsity
go
Blues.
Varsity.
Rudy's a bit overrated.
Yeah. Rudy's too like a little. It's too self-important.
It is self-important, but like I'll be damned if it doesn't get me going.
Oh, you can get emotional
Yeah.
over it, but I'm picking Varsity Blues
Picking Varsity
myself.
Blues.
All right, how about Varsity Blues or Invincible?
Varsity
you gonna
Blues.
be a homer?
Invincible's like whatever.
Yeah, it was all right. It was all right.
Wahlberg though.
How about Varsity Blues or Remember the Titans?
Varsity Blues, Remember Titans is vastly overrated.
Really?
Yeah.
But it's got Denzel,
Not
man.
that great of a movie.
I love Remember the
Nope,
Titans.
nope.
All right, how about We Are Marshall? Varsity Blues or We Are
That's
Marshall?
barely a football movie. Varsity Blues.
All right, Waterboy.
Varsity Blues, Waterboy.
And this is like 8-0 right
Yeah,
here.
it's bad. If I picked it over any given Sunday, it's kind of like we're going down this list, and it's probably not looking good. Waterboy is just more of an Adam Sandler movie than a football movie.
All right. How about Little Giants?
Whoa.
I'm picking Little Giants. I'm definitely picking Little Giants.
I'm going Varsity Blues.
Varsity Blues, all right.
Go Varsity Blues.
Longest Yard,
Longest Yard, which one?
the remake.
Doesn't matter. They're both not as good as Varsity Blues.
Gridiron Gang.
Yeah. Gridiron. Ooh.
Got The Rock.
That's some emotional shit right there.
Got The Rock.
Varsity Blues, but The Rock, he lays it on the line there.
Necessary Roughness.
Varsity Blues, but that's a great movie with Scott Bakula if you've never seen.
Scott Bakula.
As the 30-plus-year-old college football head coach.
I don't know
Or
if
a
this
football
is,
player.
I don't know if this is a movie or a football movie or not. I'm going to skip a couple of these. Go Jerry Maguire. Football movie or not? I don't know.
Jerry Maguire's a better movie, but I question if it's a football movie.
Listen, Bowie, you complete me. You complete me.
I'm going to go Jerry Maguire, but it's cheating because it's not really
All
a
right.
football movie.
How about Draft Day? Kevin Costner.
Draft Day, underrated, not better than Varsity Blues.
2 for the money.
2 for the money's better.
All right. And now.
Because I'm a gambling alcoholic.
All right. Gambling alcohol.
I'm an alcoholic gambler.
Revealing a lot about
Yes,
ourselves on the
yes.
show today. All right, you got the X Factor here. Don't know if you remember this movie.
All right,
it's
lay it on me.
it's a little unknown movie called The Garbage Picking, Field Goal Kicking Philadelphia Phenomenon.
Tony Danza.
Do you remember that movie from the Disney Channel?
Oh, yeah, it was a directed Disney Channel movie back in like the early 90s.
So I have a synopsis here for you from
Mid-90s.
IMDb. A Philadelphia garbage man who develops his leg muscles from kicking the hydraulic lever on his truck is discovered by the Philadelphia Eagles and signed to them to become a kicker.
Well, clearly that's better.
This is like right when David Akers took over here.
This was a trash movie, but literally and
So to
figuratively.
speak.
Yeah. Pun intended.
Yeah.
But I'll be damned if you weren't a kid and you were an Eagles fan. Like, this was like the dream. Like, the Eagles are never the team in a movie for us, but this was our movie, which is unfortunate because it's a movie about a garbage man.
I would love to watch. Listen, it's like the only 2 teams they could do this with, or maybe 3. I bet they could do it with the Giants because, like, New York City, blue collar city. On top of that, Pittsburgh Steelers. You
Yeah,
could do the Eagles
Steelers.
too. I feel like the whole
Browns.
NFC East
Browns.
area, Browns,
Yeah.
same thing. I don't remember this much, but I'd be damned if I wouldn't love to go back and watch this movie. It's probably awful.
I remember it being bad when I was younger, but I just enjoyed it because it was the Eagles.
So overall, it sounds like you love Varsity
Yeah,
Blues.
people are going to think I'm crazy, but honestly, like, yeah, the movie's not good. Like, I'll admit it, but I'll be damned if it isn't fun. And plus, I loved it when it first came out. It's kind of like, like they don't make them like they used to, right?
Yeah.
It's like, this is kind of a thing where it's like the movies you see, or even music you hear in high school, they kind of like, they resonate with you.
Yeah.
Like this movie, like, I love this movie.
I think had I seen it
Yeah.
when you originally
Yeah.
saw it, it would have resonated more with me.
Yeah.
I still liked it a lot.
Yeah.
I give it like a 7 out of 10.
I have a group of friends that I watched this movie with, a specific group of friends, and like we all like equally love this movie, so it kind of like has that kind of bond too, and it kind of factors into it.
So what do you give it out of a 10? I give it a 7 out of 10.
Oh, it's a 9 out of 10 for me, but I understand that many people might not agree with me, but I get it.
Well, look, this has been fun, but I think we should get out of here. Before we leave, just want to tell everybody, if you haven't had the chance to rate us on iTunes, search for The Last Row Podcast. Leave us a 5-star review. Tell us what you like about the show. We much appreciate it. Thanks to everybody that's gone out and done so.
Thank you.
We are at thelastrowpodcast@gmail.com if you want to send us an email. At The Last Row Pod on Twitter. Facebook.com/The Last Row Pod. We have an Instagram account. We also have Snapchat. I don't know if anybody uses Snapchat that listens to this show. Search for us. We're going to do some stuff on there. We'll be doing some stuff on Instagram coming up. And like I said, you can get to us on iTunes. Hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you guys next week. So they had the love scene, dude, on the washer. She said, I'm pretty sure that she said, don't be nervous. Let the dryer do the work.